After a long day of work, all I want to do is come home and watch some YouTube. So, let's see what I got to offer. Oh, what's this? What up, Leak Nation? It's your boy Bocce Baller 53 here to bring back another fire YouTube video. Today's video will have a crazy leak for you. Nintendo is making a new chair sitting game. Wow, really? What? Fuck it, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well...
So my neighbor has this cousin, that also has this best friend that his grandpa's, son's wife's boyfriend's, old college friend was a Nintendo insider, so that's how they got the information.
Yeah, so pretty airtight.
I am just flabbergasted right now.
So, do you believe anything that you were saying right now? Well, I kind of made that up. Why? Well, there's nothing Nintendo related to talk about. So, let me get this straight. You thought your best idea was to make something up. Of course it was. Hello, everyone. I'm Terrence Clown, and leaks are weird, man. Leaks. Everybody has at least believed in one. You have. I have. Hell, we all have. And with the rampant uproar of correct leaks that are progressively getting more and more convincing, it's getting increasingly hard not to start believing in some of these. Just look at me when the Bloodborne remasters didn't happen. Yeah, it wasn't the best 24 hours. I recently realized that I'm starting to get really annoyed with leak culture. Don't get me wrong, if you enjoy indulging in leaks, that's perfectly fine with me. Though it seems like recently, people are taking leaks more like as if they are straight fact than they are just rumors. And sometimes there are full news channels on YouTube dedicated to talking about new leaks, where the information they're talking about in these videos is, as many would assume, as, well, false. I can understand making these videos, especially with the drought that comes every couple of months where there isn't really anything to talk about, and some of these channels post every day. Honestly, I respect the grind. I tend to think that I'm pretty on top of my shit when it comes to Nintendo related news, but these guys make me look naive in comparison. For example, let's look back to February. 2 months into the new year, Nintendo has really nothing to talk about with the first party stuff, and their fans are hungry. There's only one Nintendo Direct, and it's only a partner showcase. So what do people do? They grab their wrenches, and they get over to the Nintendo headquarters, and they start loosening some pipes, so they can find the only thing they were looking for. A leak. Leading into the middle of March, there was one thing that was aligning the entirety of the Nintendo side of YouTube. A leaked first-party Nintendo Direct. They didn't know what was going to be in it, but they knew it was coming. It was projected to happen sometime at the end of March or in early April. And you know what? It was a very interesting Nintendo Direct. Yeah, so the leak didn't end up being true. People thought that it would be happening, though this isn't the first time that something like this happened. So let's look back even further to a podcast co-hosted by Beat-em-Ups called the Non-Tendo Podcast. It's your run-of-the-mill Nintendo podcast where they talk about leaks, news, and other thoughts about video games. Though I'll be focusing on one key episode as I feel like it helps highlight my distrust with leaks now. In this video, he states,
I can't tell you how I know. Do with this information what you will. All right. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct next month in July.
How do you know?
I can't tell you. I just said I can't tell you how I know. You know how I know, but I can't tell you how I know.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to see. Metaphor. We're going to get GameCube Shadow Drops. Pokemon Coliseum was one. Death Stranding Director's Cut S. Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. Metroid's release date. As far as I'm aware, the one more thing is supposed to be just a teaser card. I heard Isabel's going to show up and it's going to tease a card Animal Crossing coming out.
And to absolutely no one's surprise, the story caught on fast. Like pouring on gasoline into an open fire fast. This was a huge thing that people were talking about. Like, so huge that there were very popular blog sites like IGN covering this leak. Then, when the date of the leaked Direct came up, nothing happened. There was no Nintendo Direct, Beat 'em Ups later that week would release a video talking about his leak hoax that he had done as a social experiment. I'll link the video right up here. I thought it was kind of an interesting video to see how fast leaks can spread. And if you find that kind of stuff interesting as well, go watch it, but don't go anywhere. Finish the video, please. But I feel like this just really does highlight my feelings on leaks right now. I feel like I really used to enjoy looking into leaks, but now it literally goes from word of mouth to fact in about 48 hours. Don't get me wrong, it is a long time for the internet, but real time, that's not long at all. Not to mention, now we have kind of an old leak. This time, it comes from this idea from the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So this leak surfaced 1, maybe 2 weeks before the Mario movie had released, when Nintendo announces that Fox McCloud is going to be in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. After this, and I mean maybe like a week tops, a reputable leaker came out and said Nintendo is thinking about making a new Star Fox game. Oh, and they're also planning to remaster The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but that's unimportant. Now, this Ocarina of Time remake leak is very old by now. Like, we're talking 2 or 3 months old. Now, with this leak on top of the Ocarina of Time leak, it gave this kind of some more validity, because the Mario Galaxy movie was introducing Fox McCloud into major audiences to see if he was as popular or could be as popular as Mario. And that's when the leak turned from a puddle into a waterfall. Over the past couple of weeks, I've seen so many people covering this leak with no real evidence to support that this is even true in the first place, besides saying insider information. The worst part is Nintendo probably isn't oblivious to this information, as they are the most leaked company out there. Not to mention, companies oftentimes like Nintendo will fabricate leaks and fabricate information to catch moles in the company who are feeding this information back to the public. So, for all we know, this could be a fabricated leak, a little nostalgia-baited trap to catch a mole in the company who is sending this information to outside sources. Though it's not only Nintendo fans who are starved for content right now. Could be worse. You could be a Fallout fan. Now when it comes to blatant distrust with leaks, this is why. Flashback to about the final 2 episodes of the Fallout show Season 2, and there are countless rumors surrounding a Fallout 3 remaster and Fallout New Vegas remaster. This rumor kind of turned into a leak. It never became like a full leak per se, it was more like a conspiracy theory. This all stemmed from a website linked to the Fallout show, and it was a map of the Mojave. And what it was a full map kind of showing off locations from the show and kind of the game at the same time. And off in the very corner, there was one little map that was locked. And this little lock had a timer on it that was ticking down to the last episode of the Fallout show Season 2. And that's when people started thinking. The main consensus was that Bethesda was leading up to a remake of Fallout 3 and New Vegas, with the website's locked page hiding the remaster's trailer, or, if you were optimistic, hopefully Shadow Drop. And the stars had aligned perfectly for... Man, I have a problem. Yeah, there wasn't any Fallout remaster, but this isn't completely on the community's fault either. In the following weeks of the Fallout show Season 2 ending, there were too many coincidences to not lead up to a remaster. Starting with the weird updates for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. These happened out of the blue. They weren't updates to the game, they were updates to the Steam page itself. Adding fuel to the fire, this also happened for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion when that was shadow dropped. And that didn't really lead to anything. It got really popular. Like, a bunch of influencers were talking about it, and some news sites and stuff like that. And an actual Bethesda employee had to come out and say, hey, this isn't happening. Like, they physically had to take out their pointer finger and pop that bubble. This all leads to the second thing that sparked some of this. It was a post from Bethesda that highlighted Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas for quite a decent amount of time of it. This wasn't like a small post either, or by the Amazon account. It was from Bethesda themselves. And it finally felt like the stars were aligning for this Fallout remake. Wait, where is he?
Yeah, you were right. I had a problem. So I decided I'm going to stop drinking.
Oh, well, good for you, man.
Thanks, man. That really means a lot. Yeah, I feel much better. Maybe I'm gonna take up a hobby. Ooh, maybe scrapbooking.
Anyway, that had nothing to do with any of the games whatsoever, which made me extremely disappointed. So disappointed, in fact, that I almost made a whole video about Bethesda and this whole situation, but I decided never to upload it because I wasn't really adding anything to the conversation. That, and I had some choice words for Todd Howard, which I still have some pretty harsh thoughts about Bethesda, but that's for a whole nother video. Well, that's it.
Wait just 1 minute. You? Oh my god, who the hell are you? Who am I? I'm the insider from Sony you fought to kidnap and bring here so that way you could interrogate me for any news on a Bloodborne remaster and then kept inside your home for 8 months so that way you didn't get arrested.
Oh. Yeah, how could I have forgotten about that?
I don't know. Beats me, dick. I'm gonna go home and tell my family that I'm in fact not dead.
Okay, sorry. Well, that was weird. Let's talk about Bloodborne. Oh, Bloodborne. You have been the center of discussion for this channel for a long time now. If you somehow don't know, Bloodborne is my favorite Soulsborne game of all time. While I am relatively new to the fandom, joining in our glorious year of 2021, I consider it my first and favorite FromSoft game. I like it more than Elden Ring. I like it more than Dark Souls. I like it more than Demon's Souls. I think that it is in my top 5 PlayStation games of all time, and it's in my top 10 games you should play video. Be sure to go check it out after this. And if you're feeling generous, you can always like and subscribe to boost these videos for more people. But back to the topic, I love Bloodborne. But there is one problem. There aren't any remasters for the game planned, and the game is starting to get a little dated. Like I said, I love Bloodborne. It's just that it needs some love. What do I mean by that? I mean like a next-gen sort of version or a complete remaster. And I'm not the only one, as many have said that Bloodborne is rough visually around the edges, with the main complaint coming from the graphical hurdles that this game can't jump. And yes, I am complaining about the lack of 60 FPS and how it's not as pretty as Elden Ring. But what's a guy to do? I try to be nothing but honest when I talk about my feelings about video games. And this game needs some updates to make it 60 FPS and look actually good. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. Look at the entire community, which is why they constantly have Bloodbornium pumping through their veins at every state of play that has ever happened for the past 5 years. Especially with the amount of Bloodborne leaks there have been since 2020. And this is not on the script, by the way. Now that it has been announced that Jacksepticeye will be helping produce a Bloodborne animated movie that is rated R, it's just gonna keep getting worse, and I will be making a whole another video on the Bloodborne movie because I'm really excited. So to give you a rough idea of where I started with the Bloodborne rumor mill, it was around 2021, I think maybe in the March area, and Jacksepticeye had just started playing the game, and I looked at it and I was like, man, this is a game I really want to play. And then I started looking into it. I was like, are there any ports of it, or is it just a PlayStation exclusive? And that's when I found one lone article. There was a rumor that it may come to the Switch because the Switch would be able to handle that kind of power, but that never ended up happening. Now, was I naive in thinking that they would bring their exclusive for the PlayStation 4 onto the Nintendo Switch? Yeah, a little bit, undeniably, but I did have some evidence to back me up, though looking back on it now, it wasn't exactly sound evidence. Like, the only real evidence I had to support this claim was with Crash Bandicoot The Insane Trilogy. In my mind, it wasn't too out there for an idea, although that game wasn't really made by Sony, but it was made by Vicarious Visions and Activision, so maybe not the most sound evidence ever. But it still proves that even back then, I was still getting burned by the amount of Bloodborne leaks there were. And I still am now. Around 2 years ago, maybe 3, there was a lot of rumors surrounding remasters because of Bluepoint being in the picture after being acquired, and people were really excited. And that's when the leaks for the God of War 1, 2, and 3 remasters came out, and recently those were just announced as of I think a couple months ago. And along with those leaks, there was a leaked Bloodborne remaster, which, here's the real kicker, it was true. But not only was it true, it was also supposed to be made by the same people who made the Demon's Souls remaster. Bluepoint was slated to make this remaster. This never ended up happening, not because the leak wasn't true, but because FromSoft didn't authorize it. There aren't any real clear reasons on why FromSoft didn't give the go-ahead to Sony and Bluepoint to make this remaster. All that we know is that it was supposed to be made at one point. They took it to Sony. Sony liked it. Sony went to FromSoft with Bluepoint next to them, and they were like, hey, this is a remaster that we're thinking about. Can we make it? Or we want to make it. We want your blessing. And then FromSoft said, no. In my opinion, I think the reason that Miyazaki did not give the go-ahead on making this Bloodborne remaster is because Bloodborne is a game that is so close to his heart that I don't think he could think of a world where he was involved with it. And honestly, he probably just wants full creative control when it comes to something that he feels so personally attached to. So, who knows? Hopefully, FromSoft will get some free time after whatever they're doing right now, walk up to Sony and say, hey, we weren't ready yet, but now we are, and we would like to go through with this remaster. So hopefully, when FromSoft gets some free time and they're finally ready to come up to Sony and say, hey, you want to start printing some money? Sony might say yes.
Some say leaks have no class. For the past 3 months, I've been contacted non-stop. Nintendo, Sony, hell, if they're stupid enough, I mean really stupid, they might even try Microsoft. I mean, do they even make games anymore? But I'm getting off track. Where was I? Oh. A job came in. Said something about Nintendo. Huge leak. Big enough to crack everything open. So I had to do one last job. You see, the thing they don't tell you about those insiders is they're extremely sloppy. Especially the big guy upstairs. Talked to an old flame of his. Told me where I'd be located. What information I could find.
What are you doing here?
I wish I turned away that instant. But that's just not how life works. It all led me back to here. An old park that he'd been to. Though he was stupid enough to leave his can. So like in a good PI, I took the serial number, matched it to a grocery store they went to buy it. I looked at all the places that he could have bought it, looked at their transaction numbers, and found the one thing I was looking for. His address. And there it was. Top secret. I wish I'd turned back now. Forget this whole plan. Get out. Have a decent life. Yet, it was calling to me. Calling to me like a cop calling to a jelly donut in the middle of a hot summer's day.
My God. This This is the biggest leak of all time.
Sometimes I stay up late at night thinking, am I doing the right thing? Dropping this off? And then I remember the pay, and I sleep a little easier actually. Like, really easily actually. It makes it all the better. It's a nice amount of zeros I'll have to show you sometime.
This is going to be a great video. Thank you all so much for watching the video. I know I really enjoyed making it, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Let me know what your favorite part was. I personally enjoy being a little bit more creative and a little bit more experimental, so it was really fun for me to make this video. Let me know what favorite part you guys had, or if you guys wanted to talk about leaks in the comments, go ahead. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe turn on the notification bell to see when I post a new video. I should be a lot less sporadic in the summer and a lot more regular. So, till next time. Bye-bye.